Hello, everybody. Thank you for hopping on today to learn more about the GoFocus family. That is the Geotab dash cam line that they started rolling out last year and have continued to improve over the last couple of months here. If you aren't aware, we recently returned from Geotab Connect, we as in the team here at AdvantageOne, where there we learned much more about what Geotab has in store for their dash cam lineup for this year. So what we're going to do today is look over what is currently available, what I personally have in my car, as well as what will be coming down the pipeline in the next couple of months here. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on here and make sure we've got a good number of attendees. This is being recorded as well. You can find a copy of this recording on our YouTube channel after this has been completed and wrapped up. Might do some editing here and there if I make any major slip-ups, but I hope this will go nice and smoothly. I'll go ahead and just share up my screen and while we wait for a few people to log on here. All right, everybody should be able to see that. So we're going to leave that up here for just a couple of minutes now. I'm going to give it till maybe 5 after the hour here. Make sure we've got a good chance to let everybody in who's looking to join today. If this is your first time attending an AdvantageOne webinar, this is through the Zoho platform, and there is an option to add Q&A on your screen that will send directly to myself. And I also have a couple of coworkers on the line here that are also able to answer the questions that come in. If anything cannot be answered on this call today, I will go ahead and take that back directly and reach out to you via email with the answers. So let's type a question in right now so everybody sees where that'll pop up. All right, so ideally everybody will see that question come through. That is where you're able to see all of the questions and answers coming through. I will do my best to answer them all live on the call here. But if anybody wants to receive their answer privately via email, you can make sure to answer that too in the question there, and I'll reach out as soon as I can. I guess before we get too started, everybody's able to see my screen here. Is that correct? Perfect. Got some thumbs up coming on through, so that means I'm sure that everybody can see it. That's great to hear. Thanks so much for letting me know, Andrew. I appreciate that. I guess we can just jump one slide here while we're waiting for people. So this is kind of the idea of what we've got scheduled for today. Introductions about 5 minutes. We've got about 2 minutes remaining in that. I do have a pretty short slide deck here. I think 20 minutes might be fairly generous for what I've got prepared, as I think the third point here, seeing it in action, will be what everybody's really here to see. This is actually the camera I currently have installed in my personal car, so I do have more experience with this than the other two models, but I will go ahead and talk as confidently as I can about them today as well. And finally, we'll wrap it up with questions and answers. I will do my best to answer them as they come in, but ideally we'll save this last 10 minutes to answer everything in that little allotted slide. So if you're new here, my name is Jordan Osterhold. I'm an account manager or a customer success manager here at AdvantageOne. I've been here for a few years now, and I'm really delving into the whole dash cam thing. It's kind of been my forte these last couple of months, and I've been really interested in it. On the line, we also have Jesse Anderson and Andrew Wang from our support team, both very knowledgeable about all things Geotab and getting, again, more involved in the dash cam lineup here as well. Let's give everybody a couple more minutes to make sure everybody hops in who's able to, and then we can jump into this presentation. All right, and to make sure we stay on time here, we're going to jump on into this. So we're going to just jump one slide ahead and ask the simple question, why dash cams? I know a lot of people might have a tough time getting buy-in from anybody on their team. It might be the managers, it might be even the drivers. They simply don't want them. So why? What's the purpose behind these? In my opinion, this eliminates all the guesswork that you can get from a Geotab device, or even the hearsay from people, whether it's the person involved in the accident or somebody watching. You might have heard that the bystander effect is pretty bad, where people always see what they think they see instead of what's actually true. And dash cams, they don't do that. They simply show you exactly what occurred. Some lines of these dash cams will show you more, obviously with the driver-facing camera, but the road-facing is an extremely powerful tool, and it really takes a lot of the guesswork out. Another thing is fraud and legal assistance. If you're not aware, there's a lot of people getting in accidents on purpose. I know it kind of sounds crazy, but a lot of people want to get that free vehicle out of their insurance. So having that fraud protection on your side, especially for these larger organizations that maybe have more assets on the road, Having that kind of liability protection is very important, and I do believe a dash cam can answer a lot of those questions. Other really cool features that people might not think about is you can even monitor seatbelt use. With those driver-facing cameras, it'll actually even detect whether you're wearing a seatbelt or not. If you're not aware, a lot of Geotab devices, a lot of the assets with Geotab devices might not have seatbelt support based off the vehicle, but fortunately for the Geotab camera, it can detect that with or without the Geotab device, knowing if the seatbelt's connected. And of course, just overall safety improvement. You can see whether people are using their cell phone less or more, if they're rolling stops, if they're driving too fast. Pretty much anything you can imagine can be improved with a Geotab dash cam, and I hope to touch on some of those points here today. So first off, we've got the Geotab Focus ADAS sensor. So they call this a sensor opposed to a camera with one key difference. This is simply watching the road instead of recording the road. What I mean by that is it is simply a road-facing sensor, which means it has nothing looking back at the driver, and it only follows a list of predetermined rules that Geotab has set up. This is for things like following distance, whether people are tailgating, if you're doing like uncontrolled lane changing, maybe if you're swerving between the lanes, it can detect that. And of course, it'll detect the most important thing, which is the collision. That is obviously what a lot of these dash cams are being used for collision reconstruction, for really understanding the entire scope of what happens. There's also a red button on the other side of this device, which is the manual detection button. Maybe you're driving and you see another car get hit that you're not involved in. You can simply reach up and press that button to get that recorded right away for you. Another thing it has is a 128 gig embedded SD card, which is generally used for that storage of those local events. So while this does not record all the time, it does record those events and sends them up to the My Geotab cloud storage. Of course, like I mentioned, there are going to be some restrictions, and the big one here is you cannot request legacy footage. Like I said, this is not recording all the time. It is simply recording those specific events based off the rules, and because of that, you also cannot set up any custom rules. It is also road-facing only with no expansion options. You can't add a larger quality SD card. You also can't add any external cameras to this device. This is a simple road-facing sensor with the big button. Fortunately, however, the installation is easy as always. Single cable runs right here and plugs directly into the Geotab device. And fortunately for everybody on this call, this is going to be an extremely simple process for the other cameras I show off here today as well. Next up, and my favorite right now, is the Go Focus Plus. This is actually the device I have in my personal car, and I've been a really big fan of it. If you're on this call and you're part of my team, then you've probably heard me talk about this camera because I mention it on a daily basis, basically. I even told people recently that even if I didn't work here and I was given one of these, I would be very happy. It has nothing to do with me having this because of work. If I had one of these in my car just because, I'd be very happy with what I have here. Similar to the last camera, this does also have that large button, which allows you to simply press it and upload those footage. But key difference is this actually has two lenses, as you can probably tell. It's got one that faces the road, one that faces the driver, and obviously AI powered for both of those as well. Other big features you can find here is actually in-cab coaching. So not only does this have a microphone, it also has a speaker, basically meaning that if it sees you rolling a stop sign, it'll actually make a chime noise and or speak to you saying rolling stop. And that way you have a visual or an audible cue that you broke a rule on the system. Other options here is obviously an expandable storage. So it comes with 128 gigabytes of SD card storage. This can be upgraded to whatever you're able to upgrade it to. Geotab does recommend using their assigned SD cards, as obviously they have warranty and they've got the, resources to back up those cards, make sure that they're properly suited for these cameras. Another key feature that really makes this a powerful camera is you can actually have an auxiliary camera plugged in. I do have a slide coming up showing which camera options are currently available with this, and this was an exciting announcement at the last Geotab Connect conference I just finished attending. Another awesome feature is it's got an NFC reader. If you're currently doing driver assignment with your Geotab device, maybe you have that NFC reader that plugs into the device, your driver gets in and it scans their fob. Now you don't even need that fob. Believe it or not, you don't need the reader. Believe it or not, you can hop in and scan your fob directly on the camera, as it does actually have the NFC reader built into the camera directly. I haven't used this, and there's a simple reason why, which I will touch on right now. It actually has AI-powered driver assignment. So what I mean by that is using the driver-facing lens, it can actually detect people's faces, get to learn who they are using biometrics, and then assign drivers automatically to the vehicles when trips occur. I actually do have that set up in my database, And for better or for worse, I might learn more about my driving habits, which I will show you in the in the walkthrough portion coming up soon here. Like I mentioned, we're going to take a quick look at the newly announced features of this camera. So what is currently available is if you want the AI features and the backup recording, but you don't want the driver-facing lens, they actually are offering a road-facing only model. But with this, you can simply add a driver-facing camera, which is right here. It plugs in by a single cable in the top of the device, and you can place this wherever you want. You can place it right on the dash right next to this camera. You can place it to watch maybe the back seat. You can place it wherever you want. But you do have to keep in mind this will still use those AI-powered rules that I talked about for the previous camera model. The other options is you're actually able to have an internal auxiliary camera and an external auxiliary camera. These, however, do not support AI at this time. This is generally used for a backup camera or something to watch the back end of your car. And as you see, it's more internally, it's made of metal, of course, like they all are, but it's not ruggedized like this external model is. This is something you can place on the roof of your truck, on the back of your truck, on the side of your truck, whatever is best suited, and it is fully ruggedized for those outdoor conditions. If you're aware of the Go Rugged device, the Geotab device meant for outdoors, this has the same IPK rating that that one does. They obviously install by one single cable. As you see on this external model here, one cable runs off the device. You can get it in varying cable lengths, and this will plug in directly to the top of this camera. Installation for this camera is, again, very simple. One cable will come off and go to your Geotab device under the dash. If optional, the other cable will come off and plug into one of these three camera options. The restrictions is it only allows for one auxiliary camera. So I'll just jump back one slide to explain that. Basically, if you buy this model, you can only have one of these plugged in. However, if you buy this model with the two lenses, you can still expand that by adding one of these external auxiliary cameras. So I mean, at the end of the day, you could get 3 camera feeds from one camera, or 2 if you want to have that driver privacy included without the without the driver-facing lens. Another restriction is you cannot currently adjust the voice feedback. What I mean by that is there's basically a GoTalk emulated within this device. A GoTalk allows for Geotab to send physical signals to the Geotab device to actually speak commands to the driver. They've embedded a version of that within this camera, but at this time, you're not able to adjust what the voice says. So if you have some extremely custom rules, like if you wanted to say you're speeding in a school zone, that is not currently an option. But from what I've heard, that is something that will be coming down the pipeline here. And then finally, the final model that is coming out very soon is the Go Focus Pro. And this is the beefiest, heaviest duty, most large scale model they're going to have coming down the pipe. And as you see, you can see just by the form factor alone, it is quite a large camera, but it also packs a major punch. Similar to the Go Focus Plus, it does have a road facing and a driver facing. It does support the NFC. This time it has dual SD slots supporting up to 2 terabytes of storage, meaning you can have a lot of data retention on this camera alone. And on top of that, you can add up to 5 cameras to this, meaning you can have a potential 7-channel kit, which is basically 360 degrees of coverage. Another really awesome feature that I actually got to see firsthand is you can actually have an in-cam monitor. And I don't mean an in-cam lens, I mean a physical 7-inch touch or 7-inch screen you can have in your cab to watch these cameras at any time. Some of the examples for that is you could have it set up where every time you put your big truck in reverse, you'll have your backup camera pop up on this nice 7-inch screen. Or for example, you flick on your signal and your left light or your left camera will show up and you can see your left feed on your camera screen. This screen can support up to 4 feeds at a time. So even if you were to have 4 internal storage or internal cameras, you could watch all of your freight at the same time as well. And here's just a quick look at what they do currently have offering here. Obviously, another look at the camera itself too. As mentioned by the previous 2 camera models, installation is a breeze with this one. The big thing for me is you do not need any external power source, nor do you need any external DVRs. So while the camera is large, everything is built in one little solution here. Other solutions we've dealt with in the past, you'll have a camera similar size to this, and a cable runs off to a large box somewhere else, and that is where the cameras plug in. For this, these cameras will simply daisy chain through these added ports here on the back. You plug in the camera, and then off for that, you have a daisy chained where the rest of the cameras plug in. And here's just a quick look at what they currently have offered in here. If anybody wants to get any specific specs about these lenses, you can reach out to me and I can provide the information. But generally, these will offer about a 360-degree look of your vehicle when properly installed. So basically, you can have a complete view of your asset at any time using these Geotab cameras. But why do you want the Geotab dash cams? Obviously, there's a lot of options out there. For me, it's simply ease of use. I think that these are the easiest cameras. In the past, I've supported many other providers, all of which are great in their own respect. But obviously, a lot of them have their own headaches that take a little bit of time to get answers for. In my opinion, the Geotab camera is very streamlined and very straightforward with, like I've mentioned multiple times here, the simple installation. Another thing I love is that it's a unified platform. You don't need to worry about adding any add-ons to your Geotab database. You don't have to worry about any extra permissions or extra rights or extra login information. Everything is seamlessly integrated through the Geotab platform. Another thing is because it's a Geotab dashcam, it's being actively worked on and supported by Geotab, which is another really good sticking point here. If you have any issues at all, the head company here that manages your Geotab devices is also managing your camera. So that really helps make sure that things are properly taken care of on that side as well. Another thing is obviously the single cable. I like not having to worry about sending a cable to my Geotab device and one to an external power source. The Geotab device will power both, or will offer power and data to that Geotab device and the camera. Then, of course, there's obviously the backend stuff that's obviously very helpful as well. The big one is you're actually able to set defaults for the cameras, meaning that you can set up all the rules at one time before you even start installing the cameras, and those will all be set up as soon as the camera is connected. These cameras also pair instantly, so as soon as they're plugged into the Geotab device, that serial number will be sent to the serial number for the camera and pair them on the back end, meaning there's no further configuration required. And then even on top of it all, Geotab does have an application called Geotab Video, which you can use to install and manage your cameras. When you're installing your camera, you can load up that app, and you can actually watch the lenses live on your cell phone, and it'll tell you whether to turn up or to turn down the lenses to make sure you have the optimal viewing angles. Well, I guess that's it for the PowerPoint slide. I got through it a little bit quicker than I expected, but I also kind of expected that by what I said this at the beginning of this presentation. So let's see it. Let's dive into my personal database here, and let's show off what Geotab looks like with the camera installed. So first off, I'll show that I've got nothing added here. My add-ins is some simple stuff, but nothing video related. That is because everything will streamline through this video center, which I will show here just in a second. First thing I want to show is under the assets page. This is a live demo, by the way, so if stuff is loading slowly, then just keep that in mind that it's my internet, not the Geotab platform. And then you'll see your assets listed here, very similar to what you already have. Now you'll also see an option here for cameras. This is where you can actually go in and see your camera, see the state it's currently in, and even see your camera health. This is a new addition to Geotab. This does work for other cameras, not strictly Geotab cameras, but it's obviously applied here to my camera. It is the Geotab camera. And this will allow you to see if there's any issues with the installation. It'll simply tell you if it's healthy, unhealthy, stable, or offline, and then that'll allow you to do any navigation around troubleshooting. Other options you can do here is you can click on this, which will bring up the settings for this camera directly. Just to show you the entire process, you can obviously access this as well by clicking on the asset first and then clicking devices and settings. Once in this screen, you'll be able to see your external device here, which in my case is the Go Focus Plus, and you're able to see all your information around that. Stuff at the top is you can live stream the camera right now if you wanted to check it out at this exact moment. You can view recordings or you can manage it here as well. Another key feature I have with this device while I'm on this specific screen is you actually wake up the device at any time. So similar to other cameras, you cannot pull footage off a device that's offline because it does need to have that established connection. But if my device was offline due to inactivity, I could actually send up wake up signal to the device at any time, bringing it back online and allowing me to pull that footage. Other things you can see here is audio settings. If I do want to turn on that internal microphone, I can do so here, which will allow me to actually hear myself in the car, but nobody wants to hear that singing, I'll be honest. You can also choose whether you want the device to chime or do the voice alerts. Like I mentioned, this will make a simple beep, allowing you to know that there's been something that a rule has been broken, and the voice alert will actually tell you what rule is broken. Other options is there is a wide range of language options here. So if you were to speak a separate language, it can actually support that here directly as well. You can even choose the gender in which the voice speaks to you. Other features that might or might not be important is the driver-facing camera. In my situation, I do have this enabled because I do like that it is able to alert me if I'm being a bad driver. I also like the driver assignment thing just simply for my nerdy brain to know my driver score compared to my wife's. Obviously, advanced hidden features or advanced features is where you'll see all of the other settings here. In my situation here, I have turned off a lot of the actual noises because obviously I don't want them going off when my baby's in the back seat, but some of the stuff is still very important to have. For me, I really like having the dash cam button pressed alert on. That way I know 100% certainty that I hit that button and the recording has been sent across. This again can be customized individually like this or through the settings for the entire devices, which I will show here as well. Obviously, another thing you can do is you can set up the thresholds, low, medium, or high. This is going to tell you here, if you hover over this info card, the sensitivity basically. So low will be the lowest sensitivity, meaning I can actually be on my cell phone for about 10 seconds before it alerts me and records that video. High is 4 seconds, and you can obviously hover over all of these down below for more information about any of those. As you see, there's a pretty large range of predetermined settings here within Geotab, but this is only scratching the surface for this specific camera. Just to reiterate, this is specifically for the GoFocus Plus and the GoFocus Pro camera. The ADAS sensor is only built in with the custom or the default road-facing only rules. Unfortunately, I don't have that installed in my camera or my car, but if you'd like to learn more, feel free to reach out and I will go ahead and show you more about that. So now you're in here, you can go ahead and adjust all of your preferences, whether you want it to make all the noises or no noises, and adjust the threshold in which those events will be reached. If you wanted to go in and make custom rules, though, you can do that as well. I'll just load up the Groups and Rules tab and then press on Rules. And maybe I want to get a video every time I'm going 20 kilometers an hour over the limit for any reason. You can see there's a media upload setting. Opening that option will allow you to either send through a simple picture or a video. This video can allow you to expand this 15 seconds before and after. So basically one 30-second clip. This can obviously be shortened down as tight as you want. You do have to keep in mind of the data usage. If I haven't mentioned this, these cameras do come with 2 gigabytes per month of data usage, but that is obviously a soft cap, meaning that if you do reach that threshold, your device won't be shut off, but it might be throttled. You might not be able to pull any footage manually, but the events will still be uploaded. Not only does this custom rules apply to these built-in rules, I can even go ahead and add a rule. I could add a rule to my database for anything I want. I could add any conditions I want. I could maybe have a very specific rule for driving too fast while reversing in a zone. And if anybody breaks that rule, I want a video of it for 10 seconds to show me that Steve in accounting is driving his Miata a little too fast. You never know. It could be very specific like that, and you can set up rules specifically for those videos you want to have configured. Another thing I want to quickly show off here, if I can hopefully dive to the right page first try, that'd be great. If not, I will have to touch back on this. Fortunately, I did. This is where you'd find the default settings. So clicking on your icon in the top corner, System Settings, and then the Devices tab, this is where you can actually go through and set up your default settings like I've talked about before. If maybe I was planning to buy 10 more cameras and I do not want to take the time to go through and do all this, I could actually turn on and off whatever I want, and then I could save the settings here at the top. That means the next time I install a GoFocus camera in my database, it will automatically respect my rules I've set up here. If you're already too far in, you've already installed 20 or 30 cameras, and now you're realizing that maybe some of these settings are too egregious, maybe you want to turn something off, turn something on. Fortunately for you, there is an option for that as well. Going back to the Assets tab and then the Camera tab, you can actually do bulk editing here as well. By simply toggling these buttons, if I had maybe 10 of them, I could toggle all of them here as well. I can press the Edit button, and I could edit all of my cameras at once this way as well. So if you do already have these cameras set up in your Geotab database, there is still an option to easily adjust all of your settings at the same time. One other thing worth mentioning is I have completed a rollout with another company. They have specifically turned off driver-facing mode, but yet they're still seeing the driver lens on when they're live streaming their cameras. The reason why is because there's a specific mode option here. Adjustment mode will force turn on the road-facing and driver-facing lens simply to ensure calibration is correct. If you have this camera and you're seeing any of the road or any of the driver-facing when you have the setting turned off, you want to make sure that this mode is set to drive mode. There are 2 ways to get out of drive mode. One is by waiting 3 hours, I believe. Yeah, it will revert automatically after 3 hours. Or as an administrator, you can come in here and adjust this automatically, or manually rather. Now we can get to the good stuff. I can show you my driving, which I'm kind of scared to do. So under the Video tab, there's 3 options here, with the events being likely the most important. This is where you will simply see everything that people are doing. It's got tabs here to simply filter these options, but you can obviously click to see all of them. Other things you're able to do here is you can specify by rules. If you only want to see when I'm doing one thing, but you want to see all of the other rules, you can do that here as well. You can even look at the date range. Right now, it's set defaulted to the last 7 days. But if I wanted to see every time I was tailgating for the last 30 days, we can see that fortunately for me, doing pretty good there. Unfortunately for me, I tend to eat and drink a lot of coffee when I'm driving to Edmonton late at night, but we don't look at that one. I will, however, show you an event from me, maybe yawning. Maybe I was taking a big yawn on my drive home from Edmonton this past weekend. We can go ahead, we can click on this video, and we can see exactly what we're looking at here. Obviously, you can see here that my face is blurred in this recording. That is optional as well. Fortunately for everybody is you can actually have the facial blurring turned on and still have the driver detection. As you see, it still picked up this was me driving, but my face has been blurred. So I don't know about you, but that doesn't look like me in that video. So I'm going to say that I wasn't drowsy driving this last weekend. 101 events for this month. That might seem like a lot, and it is. And that's why there's an option here for the coaching tab. This will actually take a look at all of the events. Sorry, it's got a question coming through here. Concurrent Go Talk rules work with audible alerts. Thanks for the question, Arif. We did mention that briefly here. I did talk to Geotab about that at Connect, and unfortunately, that's not currently available, but they do have an option to bring that down the pipeline. I did actually speak with them at the expert bar directly about that question, and they thought that that's a fantastic option, and they hope to roll that out here as soon as possible. In my best prediction, they're going to bring that out alongside the Go Focus Plus or the Go Focus Pro camera, which will be coming out in the next couple of months here. So that's a great question. So back to coaching. What this will do is this will look at all of the driving events for the past period, which I believe is the last 30 days, and it will look to see who's driving and give you a score, 1 to 100, basically. 1 means you're a pretty darn good driver, so obviously my wife's doing a little bit better than I am, and the higher the score, the more egregious your experiences have been. So right now, I can see that my score is a 40 average for the team, and mine is a 42. It also gives you a little look of your kilometers and your events per 1,000 kilometers as well. You can even go into video coaching. Right now, it looks like my most dangerous driving has actually been for head turning. As you see, I'm having a quick bite to eat, and my head might have been turned for slightly too long while driving. I can actually click on this and review any time my head has been turned, and I can approve or reject this for coaching. What this will do is this will allow you to now go back and verify that this person is getting better. You can take a look at this now, take a look later, and see if the coaching efforts have been successful. You can even see a history of coaching after the coaching events have been completed. And then finally, there's the option for the drivers. This is where you can go ahead and see all of your scores on one page. The last setting here we're going to look at is actually the camera settings. And this is going to allow you to go ahead and customize the retention for the data and also turn on and off those events I showed you earlier. So first page, here's a smart driver ID. This is where it allows you to automate assignment for vehicles. So right now, if I were to click on driver mapping, it'll have a picture of both my wife and my face, and you can apply those to the individual drivers on the Geotab database. That will go ahead and pull back any of the footage efforts there and apply the face and the name properly to those events. The second tab is data and privacy. This is where it allows you to blur any information. You can blur the driver and passenger like I showed, even external license plates and pedestrians. You can also choose how long you want to keep your data retention. If you have a very specific policy in-house where you can have dash cams, but you have to have them deleted every 3 days, you can go ahead and set that here. That's both for the camera and for the cloud. So right now, if 30 days is too much, you can even set that lower here by using a custom date range. The last option is you can even choose how your data is being kept on the SD card. If maybe continuous recording is not as important as events, you can simply adjust the slider. This will give you more options for the continuous recording, giving you a longer amount of time for that legacy footage. And while we're on the topic of legacy footage, you might wonder how exactly that works, and I'm happy to show you that here as well. So obviously under the event page, this is only specific, maybe 10 to 30 second clips from my last drive. If maybe I got home and said, oh, I saw a crazy crash, but I forgot to hit the button, you can actually bring up the trip history. And I'm just going to choose a date range while I'm on my road here. I'm going to say this past weekend. And you can see the trip history here, similar to how you normally see trip history on Geotab. We can see all of my driving taking place here. And then from here, I can actually see any spots on the road I want. I can hover over the map. Maybe it was near Strathmore, I think. Yeah, I think it must have been around here. I can click on the map and actually request the video playback for any time during this trip. Generally, with 128 gigabytes, we say about 1 month of data can be kept at a time, but obviously that really matters on how much driving is being done. If you're driving 1,000 kilometers a day, the footage playback might not be as high. If you're driving a little bit lesser, like I have, you can probably pull back quite a bit of data here. Next up, after clicking that playback button, you can choose how much footage you want. You can choose as short as 10 seconds. You can choose as long as 2 minutes. It says plus or minus 60 seconds in this case, which means it'll take that middle point and give you 30 or 60 seconds before and after that point. So I'll just keep it to right around 20 seconds right now. As you see, it's loading in my driver camera and the road camera at the same time here. And here's the footage. And oh, I guess I'm wrong. I guess I don't have that collision here. Fortunately for me, I can go ahead and request later down the line and do that again. Like I said, this is allowing for historical footage as well. If maybe, oh, these dates are actually wrong, I want to pick older dates, I could actually bring this back and find a date later or earlier in the year here and pull that footage as well if needed. Go ahead and just click some random date here. Now, like I said, this is not predetermined. This is all live demo. And we'll click on this random spot on the map, and we'll see if I'm able to pull the footage here from January 12th. If this is an optional, this would be pretty cool. If not, then I guess we found the data limit for my own personal device here. Based off I'm not seeing the button, I think that I might have found the limit, which is not the best thing to do on a live demo. But I think you all get the idea of what I'm trying to show off here today. I think with that, that's probably going to be the end of what I've got to show for the Geotab dash cam line. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever? I could even show this device physically as well. I do have a spare in my office here. If you'd like me to grab my camera, I can even show off what it looks like in my hands here as well. In fact, I'm going to do that really quickly. All right, so here's what you're looking for the Go Focus Plus camera. As you see, it's got that NFC button here, got the big button, big tactile button, and then the 3M tape, which adheres it to the windshield. Fortunately, they do sell this bracket separately as well. So if you ever do get a new windshield or whatever, you can simply disconnect it from the bracket and get a new bracket altogether, meaning you don't have to go through that process of trying to get 3M tape off a window, because that is a very tricky process. Other options here, you'll see these little tiny hex nuts on both sides. Unscrewing these allows you to simply adjust these lenses up and down, allowing for proper calibration of the lenses. Finally, we've got the options here at the top. If I were to pull this little guy off, there we go. We can see the SD cards hidden in there, and then obviously the camera power button, and then the external camera option here as well. Simple as that, really. I mean, it has, like I said, that little microphone built in, which can be enabled or disabled, but overall, it's a very small form factor camera. And in my situation, it hides nicely under my my rearview mirror. Very small form factor. Tucks up there. Got the cable running alongside my header board down the A pillar right directly into the Geotab device. Does anybody have any questions about the Geotab camera line? I'd be happy to help out with any of those. Hop back over here and show off what they have to offer. Let's give everybody a few minutes if there's any questions. If not, we can wrap up nice and early. Fortunately for me, I talked a little bit faster than I expected, and my timeline was blown out the window a little bit, but that's all right. It gives everybody more time for questions and answers. All right, well, with that, then I guess I can let everybody get some time back in their day. Go enjoy this beautiful afternoon. I'm not sure where you're from, but the weather got a lot nicer here recently, so I'm going to take the dog for a walk and enjoy some outside time. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See you.